Watching the official visit of the Russian president to North Korea, even some representatives of the Western media called what was happening a real triumph for Moscow. Western journalists were shocked by how solemnly North Korea greeted the Russian president. In the capital of this country, all the streets were decorated with Russian flags, banners in Russian, and portraits of Vladimir Putin. Crowds of enthusiastic people chanted the name of the Russian president, waving Russian flags. Moreover, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un even made an exception to the rules and violated protocol by arriving at the airport to meet Vladimir Putin in person. The president of Russia has become the only world leader who has received such an honor. All this indicates that North Korea perceives Russia as a strategic partner and a close ally, who will help Pyongyang to finally get out of international isolation, where North Korea was driven by globalists from Washington and London. By the way, in fairness, we must admit that Vladimir Putin has always understood the importance of allied relations between Russia and North Korea. Don't forget that North Korea was one of the first countries that Vladimir Putin visited during the first years of his government. However, back in 2000, the Kremlin was literally crawling with CIA agents, well known as Russian liberals. Back then, these liberals did not allow Vladimir Putin to begin building strategic cooperation with North Korea. These CIA agents convinced the young Russian president that building strategic relations with North Korea was very dangerous for Moscow, as such actions could harm Russia's relations with its Western partners. However, after all the well-known events in Ukraine in 2014, Vladimir Putin gradually began to get rid of Russian liberals. By February 2022, when the special military operation in Ukraine began, a large number of liberals had fled Russia. And those who did not manage to escape ended up in Russian prisons. The fact that the West, led by the United States, supplies Ukraine with its mercenaries, soldiers, officers, and all types of weapons, allowing Kiev to use these weapons against targets on Russian territory, once again convinced Vladimir Putin that it is the West that is the real enemy of Russia. Moreover, within 2 years, globalists from Washington and London not only seized Russia's gold and foreign exchange reserves worth $300 billion, but also imposed hundreds of different sanctions against Moscow. With these actions, they hope to break Russia not only on the battlefield, but also from an economic point of view. However, unfortunately for the globalists, Russia not only held out on the battlefield, but also began to win. Moreover, the great economic potential and the natural resources of the Russian Federation allowed Moscow not only to withstand all Western sanctions, but also significantly strengthen its economy. And now, against the backdrop of his arrival in North Korea, Vladimir Putin has begun to drive the last nail into the coffin of globalists and supporters of a unipolar world, who so furiously tried to destroy Russia. At the moment, the United States is in a state of shock. Washington did not expect Russia to sign the so-called Pyongyang pact with North Korea. The fact is that Russia has officially announced a major security pledge to North Korea. Now, if the United States and its so-called allies attack North Korea, it will automatically mean an attack on Russia. In turn, North Korea declared the same thing. Pyongyang officially announced that any attacks on Russia would be perceived by North Korea as aggression against its own territory. Thus, Russia and North Korea pledged to defend each other in the face of a common enemy. Thus, in addition to Belarus, Russia has received a second military ally in the Special Military Operation Zone. Now, North Korea, seeing how NATO forces are shelling Russian territory and sending Western mercenaries along with active-duty Western soldiers to Ukraine and regions of Russia, in order to kill Russians, can officially intervene in the current conflict. The United States is concerned about the fact that North Korea very soon may begin to officially help its ally not only with the supply of powerful weapons systems, but also with its professional soldiers, who are eager to meet with the NATO military on the battlefield in Ukraine. Let me remind you that after signing a military and strategic alliance agreement with Russia, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un officially stated that Russia faced aggression from the entire NATO bloc led by the United States, and at the same time Moscow is fighting against Western imperialism and the unipolar world. The Ukrainian deputies took the words of the leader of North Korea very painfully. According to some sensible Ukrainian deputies, it was very stupid to think that against the backdrop of the common struggle of Western countries in Ukraine against Russia, Moscow would continue to fight alone against such a powerful force. Moreover, many Ukrainian deputies expressed confidence that if Western countries continue to strengthen their support for Ukraine, this will inevitably lead to the fact that armies of Belarus, North Korea, and even China will be forced to intervene in the current conflict on the side of Russia. Meanwhile, the Deputy Chief of Staff for Intelligence, Ian Sullivan, said that strengthening cooperation between North Korea and Russia totally contradicts Washington's interests. We are concerned about the fact that the Russian-North Korean alliance is developing rapidly, and that over time it may develop into something more than just a business relationship, Ian Sullivan said. In addition, Western experts admitted that the alliance with Russia allowed North Korea to break through the Western sanctions regime. Now, every year, North Korea will become stronger not only from an economic, but also from a military point of view. Thus, we can state that the US plan to weaken Russia has completely failed. Since 2014, the United States has not only failed to weaken Russia economically and militarily, but has also completely lost Ukraine. In addition, the short-sighted actions of the United States contributed to the rapprochement of Russia, Iran, China, and North Korea. Moreover, Washington's major mistakes allowed Pyongyang to break through the sanctions regime and begin rebuilding North Korea's economy. Thanks to this, in 10 years, North Korea will become one of the world's most powerful and prosperous countries. The only thing the United States has achieved is the destruction of the economic power of the European Union. In all other respects, Washington's strategists have miscalculated badly.